In a busy downtown bank where rich businessmen walked in wearing branded suits and expensive watches, a frail woman with silver hair and worn-out sandals quietly pushed open the glass door. Her name was Maria Bennett, a 68-year-old widow whose eyes told stories of survival, sacrifice, and silence. She walked slowly toward the counter, clutching a small, faded purse in her trembling hands. Standing beside her was a tall, loud millionaire named Grant Holloway, a man known for his arrogance, flashy lifestyle, and habit of belittling anyone he considered beneath him. He wore a gold watch worth more than most people's yearly salary and carried himself with the confidence of someone who thought the world belonged to him. As fate would have it, Maria ended up standing right next to him in the queue. Grant smirked at her simple clothes and the way she nervously kept checking her purse. He whispered to the man behind him, "People like her shouldn't be taking up space here. Probably wants to check the last $10 of her pension." The small crowd chuckled. Maria heard him, but she said nothing. She just kept staring at the floor, breathing slowly, as if she had carried years of tiredness on her shoulders. When her turn came, she stepped forward politely and softly said the sentence that made the millionaire laugh out loud. "I just want to see my balance, please." Grant slapped his knee, laughing. "See her balance. What's she got? A few cents," he jeered. Everyone in line started whispering, amused by his cruelty. But the bank teller, a young woman named Anna, frowned. She gently took Maria's card and inserted it into the system. Suddenly, Anna's face froze. Her eyes widened. Her hands trembled. She immediately checked the screen again, typing faster. Verifying the numbers, Maria raised her eyebrows, confused. "Is everything okay, dear?" The teller's voice cracked. "Mom, your balance is extraordinary." Grant overheard and burst into laughter again. "Extraordinary? Yeah, sure!" Maybe she saved $90 instead of $9. But then Anna turned the screen around, and in that instant, the entire bank fell silent. On the glowing display, the number stared back at everyone: 47,300,000, $47 million. Grant's laughter died instantly. His face went pale. His knees nearly buckled. This must be a mistake," he stuttered. But Maria simply sighed and said, "Yes, I need to confirm it. My late husband invested in some company years ago. I never bothered to check because I wasn't sure I deserved any of it." The customers gasped. Anna confirmed it. The amount was real, verified, and untouched for 17 years. The millionaire, who had mocked her moments earlier, now stood speechless. Maria looked at him with calm, gentle eyes and asked, "Young man, why do you laugh at people before knowing their story?" Grant swallowed hard. For the first time in years, he felt small, not because of money, but because of character. Maria quietly took her receipt and thanked the teller. She didn't brag, didn't flaunt, didn't react with anger. She simply walked toward the exit, dignity in every step. But Grant wasn't done. Something inside him had cracked, and he followed her out the door, unaware that this encounter was about to change both their lives forever. Maria stepped outside the bank, the cool breeze brushing against her weathered cheeks. She tightened her grip on her purse and began walking toward the bus stop. She had lived her whole life believing she was poor, and even now, after learning she was worth millions, she felt no urge to change her simple way of living. But behind her, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed. "Wait! Please wait!" Grant Holloway, the arrogant millionaire who had mocked her, ran after her, nearly tripping over his own expensive shoes. His chest heaved, not because of the running, but because his pride was collapsing under the weight of guilt. Maria, I want to apologize," he said breathlessly. She turned, her expression soft but firm. "For what, young man? For laughing. For assuming you understood my life in a glance." Grant lowered his head like a child facing discipline. "I was wrong. I judged you. I insulted you, and I feel ashamed." Maria gave him a gentle nod. "You should be. But that shame is good. It means your heart still works." Grant had no words. For years, he had lived believing money defined worth. Today, he had learned otherwise. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "if you don't mind me asking, why didn't you ever check your balance before? Why live like this when you had enough to change everything?" Maria smiled faintly. "Because money doesn't bring my husband back, and because I was saving it for something that mattered." Grant frowned. Something. Maria lifted her eyes toward the sky. A shelter. A place for abandoned children, struggling widows, tired workers, people society forgets. My husband always said, when we have enough, we'll give everything back. I thought we'd build it together. But after he passed, I didn't have the heart to continue the dream alone. Her words pierced Grant deeper than any insult ever could. He realized how empty his life was. Parties, fame, cars, none of it had purpose. But this woman, living in poverty, carrying millions, still thinking only about helping others, she had something he didn't meaning. "Maria," he said, voice trembling, "let me help you build that shelter. I have resources, connections, influence. Let me be part of this." She studied his face carefully. Not with judgment, with wisdom. "If you want to help, don't do it to erase your guilt. Don't do it to look good in the newspapers. Do it because your soul is finally asking for something real." Grant nodded, tears forming. "Yes, that's exactly why I want to do it." And so it began. The unlikely partnership between a humble widow and a millionaire desperate to rediscover his humanity. Within 6 months, they built Bennett Home of Hope, a shelter that provided food, education, and safety for hundreds of people. Grant changed completely. He stopped flaunting his wealth. He spent his days helping the needy, learning from Maria, discovering what true richness meant. One day, during the shelter's opening ceremony, Grant stepped up to the microphone and said, "I used to think being rich meant having money. But this woman," he pointed to Maria, "taught me that real wealth is in kindness, humility, and purpose." Maria wiped a tear, proud not because the millionaire praised her, but because she saw that her husband's dream had finally come alive. The crowd applauded, inspired. Children hugged Maria. Families thanked her. And Grant, who once laughed at her, now protected her like a son. As the sun set behind the mountains, Maria whispered to herself, "He would be proud of us, love." And somewhere in the silence, it felt like her husband smiled back.